The world is changed. I feel it in the water. I feel it in the earth. I smell it in the air. Much that once was is lost, for none now live who remember the glory of the Eastern Han. It began with the great dynasty that unified the Middle Kingdom, but the hearts of men are easily corrupted. In the imperial court, power festered in the hands of eunuchs, and darkness crept into the realm. Then, in the 17th year of Emperor Ling, the yellow turbans rose, and the mighty Han began to fracture. Amid the chaos, Dong Zhuo emerged. Upon seizing the capital, he deposed the young emperor, placed his puppet on the throne, and ruled with cruelty, malice, and his will to dominate all life. One by one, the free lands of Middle Kingdom fell to his power, but there were some who resisted. An alliance of 18 warlords marched under the banner of justice, vowing to end Dong Zhuo's tyranny. However, the Han dynasty's fate was sealed. Their fragile alliance marked the beginning of years of blood and betrayal as the Han crumbled into ashes. From this darkness, three powers emerged: Cao Cao, the cunning strategist; Sun Quan, the steadfast ruler; and Liu Bei, the idealist driven by virtue. Together they forged the three kingdoms of Wei, Shu, Wu. For 60 years, these kingdoms waged war for supremacy over the Middle Kingdom. Yet amidst the shadows of war, it was also a time when legends were born, heroes whose deeds would echo through the centuries. Zhuge Liang was born into this chaotic world. Orphaned at a young age, he lost his mother when he was 3 and his father when he was 8. He and his younger brother were taken in by their uncle, who also passed away when Zhuge Liang turned 17. During his youth, Zhuge Liang chose to retreat to the quiet of Longzhong. While seemingly living a simple farmer's life, he keenly observed the chaos of the era and analyzed the balance of power among the warring factions. It was during this time that he developed the Three Kingdoms strategy, which would later become a cornerstone of Liu Bei's political and military plans. He also immersed himself in the study of military strategy, geography, and astronomy, laying the foundation for his future achievements. At age 27, Zhuge Liang met Liu Bei in the famous 3 visits to the cottage. He presented his Three Kingdoms strategy to Liu Bei and became the core strategist of the Shu-Han kingdom. In the Battle of Red Cliffs, Zhuge Liang orchestrated an alliance with Eastern Wu, achieving a decisive victory against Cao Cao and securing the foundation for the tripartite division of the land. He then helped Liu Bei seize control of Yizhou, establishing the Shu-Han kingdom. Following Liu Bei's death, Zhuge Liang assumed the responsibility of supporting the young lord and managing the affairs of the kingdom. In the final years of his life, he launched 5 northern expeditions in an effort to reclaim the Central Plains. But these campaigns ultimately failed due to Shu-Han's limited resources. In 234 CE, Zhuge Liang passed away at Wuzhang Plains at the age of 54, leaving behind a timeless legacy of dedication, to devote oneself wholeheartedly and tirelessly until the very end of life. Throughout world history, there has been no shortage of great figures who overcame difficult childhoods, grew through adversity, and ultimately achieved extraordinary feats. Take Alexander Hamilton, for example. As one of the framers of the U.S. Constitution and the first Secretary of the Treasury, Hamilton played a pivotal role in laying the foundations of America's political, economic, and legal system. Born into poverty in the Caribbean, Hamilton faced immense hardships early in life. He lost his father at a young age, and by the time he was 12, his mother had passed away, leaving him in a state of destitution. Yet, through sheer determination, he worked in a trading company to gain practical experience and used his remarkable writing and intellect to change his destiny. Amidst the turbulence of the American colonies, Hamilton displayed a profound understanding of political and social issues at an early age. Both Hamilton and Zhuge Liang experienced the loss of crucial family support during their early years. Yet these challenging circumstances compelled them to become self-reliant, using their extraordinary intelligence and resilience to carve out opportunities for their futures. Zhuge Liang is celebrated for his unparalleled strategic brilliance, from his Longzhong plan to his exceptional administrative skills as the imperial chancellor of Shu-Han. His wisdom has made him a legend in both history and literature. During World War II, Winston Churchill chose to form alliances with the United States and the Soviet Union to jointly resist Nazi Germany, a strategy that bears a striking resemblance to Zhuge Liang's military strategy of allying with Eastern Wu to counter Cao Cao. In Churchill's collaboration with Roosevelt, he used exceptional diplomatic skills and personal charisma to persuade the United States to provide substantial material aid to Britain during a critical phase of the war. Facing the Soviet Union, despite ideological differences, Churchill was compelled by the circumstances to quickly adjust his stance and forge a partnership with Stalin to jointly resist the rapid expansion of Nazi Germany. He understood profoundly that without uniting all available forces, Britain would be unable to cope with this existential crisis. Similarly, Zhuge Liang displayed extraordinary strategic vision when confronted with Cao Cao's formidable army of hundreds of thousands. Recognizing that Liu Bei's faction, with its relatively weak strength, could not confront Cao Cao alone, he proposed the strategy of allying with Eastern Wu to counter Cao Cao. This alliance, solidified through the Battle of Red Cliffs, successfully curbed Cao Cao's military expansion and laid the groundwork for the tripartite balance of power in the Three Kingdoms era. Winston Churchill and Zhuge Liang, through their decisions and actions, not only shaped the course of wars in their respective eras, but also provided valuable lessons in wisdom for future generations. In moments of crisis, the complexity of cooperation is often unavoidable, but it is precisely such intricate alliances that become the cornerstone of ultimate victory. His image also calls to mind Gandalf from The Lord of the Rings. Gandalf, with his knowledge and foresight, paves the way for Middle-earth's races to unite and stand against Sauron. Through diplomacy and persuasion, Gandalf fosters cooperation among diverse factions, forming the Fellowship of the Ring and uniting men, elves, dwarves, and hobbits into a strong alliance during the war. As a figure of wisdom, Gandalf empowers others like Frodo and Aragorn to fulfill their potential, sacrifices himself for the greater good, and inspires hope in despair. Both figures use their wisdom to uphold an ideal world, serving as beacons of guidance in times of peril. Zhuge Liang's loyalty is perhaps the most moving aspect of his character. It was not blind allegiance, but a steadfast commitment born from his dedication to a noble ideal. When Liu Bei visited him 3 times at his humble cottage, entrusting him with the mission to restore the Han dynasty, Zhuge Liang pledged his life to this cause. Even after Liu Bei's death, as Shu-Han's situation grew increasingly dire, Zhuge Liang remained unwavering. He took up the daunting responsibility of the northern expeditions, risking his health and life to honor his promise. In his memorial to the emperor before the expedition, Zhuge Liang expressed profound emotion, not just loyalty to Liu Bei as an individual, but to the larger ideal of justice and restoring order to the empire. His words and actions reflected a rare kind of devotion, one that transcended personal ties and embraced a lifelong commitment to a cause. Similarly, Winston Churchill led Britain through its darkest hour during World War II with unmatched resilience and unyielding loyalty to his nation. His leadership preserved the dignity of Britain in the face of Nazi Germany's relentless aggression. Both Churchill and Zhuge Liang shared an unshakable dedication to their respective causes and the ability to inspire others to persevere, even under the most adverse circumstances. Zhuge Liang and Winston Churchill were both masters of words, deeply attuned to the power of speech and debate. They understood that the strength of language could, at times, surpass the might of weapons. Through eloquent speeches, sharp debates, and moving rhetoric, they turned the tide of events and inspired change.
You ask, what is our aim? I can answer in one word. Victory. Victory at all costs. Victory in spite of all terror. Victory, however long and hard the road may be. For without victory, there can be no survival.
Churchill's speeches galvanized nations during their darkest hours, while Zhuge Liang's words rallied troops and brought fractured alliances together during moments of existential crisis. Speaking of this, let me analyze the cinematography of the classic scene where he debates against a group of Eastern Wu scholars from the Old Three Kingdoms series. In this scene, Zhuge Liang is deliberately cornered and challenged by a group of Eastern Wu scholars who aim to exploit the temporary difficulties faced by Liu Bei's faction and humiliate him. However, Zhuge Liang turns the tide in his favor with sharp wit and eloquence, showcasing his unshakable composure and intellectual dominance. Zhuge Liang is dressed in white, sharply contrasting with the somber tones of the Eastern Wu advisors. This deliberate choice in costume design underscores Zhuge Liang's purity and integrity, symbolizing someone untouched by the murky corruption around him. His presence radiates like a beacon of justice, piercing through the shadows, distinguishing him as a figure of unparalleled moral and intellectual superiority. The scene employs fluid, continuous long takes to highlight Zhuge Liang's rapid thinking and eloquent speech. These uninterrupted shots emphasize the seamless flow of his arguments, giving the audience a sense of his mental agility and unyielding confidence. When Zhuge Liang speaks, the camera frequently captures him from a low angle, making him appear towering and commanding. In stark contrast, his opponents are often filmed from a high angle, diminishing their stature and emphasizing their lack of conviction. At times, the height difference is exaggerated by placing Zhuge Liang and his opponents within the same frame, subtly implying the moral and intellectual inferiority of the Eastern Wu scholars who advocate surrendering to the enemy. A rotating camera shot accompanies his most impactful moments of rhetoric. This technique not only adds visual energy but also mirrors the unrelenting force of his words. The rotation creates a sense of momentum and power, as if his arguments are impossible to counter, overwhelming both his opponents and the audience with their sheer brilliance. When General Huang Gai enters the scene, the lighting shifts. A beam illuminates Zhuge Liang's face, reinforcing his image as a radiant figure of justice and wisdom. The interplay of light and shadow enhances his heroism, casting him as a larger-than-life presence in stark contrast to the dark surroundings. This use of lighting elevates his character further, almost sanctifying him as the moral center of the scene. Through deliberate use of color, camera angles, dynamic shots, and lighting, the cinematography ensures that Zhuge Liang's wit and eloquence leave a lasting impact, not only on his fictional opponents but also on the audience. If you enjoyed this content, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments who is your favorite character in Three Kingdom. Thank you. Bye-bye.